Hey guys, I got a 2010 Kia Soul. I'm changing the front brakes on. I've done Souls a couple times and there's a couple things I've noticed about them that I just want to share with you. Hopefully make your job when you do your brakes a little bit easier. One, you can see right here and right here are these Phillips head screws that hold the rotor on. They're basically just there so that when you reassemble, it holds the rotor in place. So just make sure when you get everything undone and you try to hammer off the rotor that you made sure that you pulled those screws out, otherwise the rotor won't come out. A couple car manufacturers use one, some don't use any, but Kia uses two. So I'm going to loosen up the caliper bolts, and that's a 14 millimeter bolt. And one thing I noticed about Kias too is their bolts aren't super tight. I'm not saying they're torqued correctly or not correctly. I just noticed that when I work on brakes on Kias, they're not real tight for some reason. This one top bolt here, that's right here, that's holding this rotor retainer on. You are going to need a short extension for that one, otherwise you're going to hit the brake line. But those are 17 millimeter. Let's pop that off. And there's one more there down below. Get him out of there. That one. And this last one right here. And another thing I noticed about, it's just on these soles for some reason, the brake pads never fit into the hardware very well. And I'll show you what I mean. And there's a proof in that the inside of these rotors are always worn much more than the outside. And that's because that brake pad does not float in the hardware like it's supposed to. So let's take a look at this one. So if you can see there, that inside pad is pretty much gone. The outside one's got 1/16 left. But also notice there's this clip right here. Make sure that you put that on the right way because the other side is just the opposite. So knock those out. And that one to come out very easy. So get that rotor off, find something, preferably a hammer, which I don't know where the heck my hammer is, but I'm going to use my old receiver hitch here. There we go. To get that knocked loose. Now, I don't know how good you can see this. You see this inside? This is worn way more than the outside of this rotor. And it's because when these pads are inside this hardware right there, it fits way too tight. This pad should float in and out, and it doesn't. I've noticed this on every Kia Soul I've worked on from 2010 to a friend of mine's got a 2012. It's the same way. So I'll show you how to fix that. Let's see here. Here's one of the new pads, and what I do is I grind off a little bit on this surface right here, and then a little bit here and a little bit there. You can see where I've ground the paint off right there, and do that on the same side, or the opposite side, but the same way. This surface here, inside here, and inside here. And then what that does, you can see this a little better, it fits this profile much better, and it allows this pad to slide in and out so it doesn't always drag on the rotor. This car's only got 30,000 miles on it, and the front brake pads and rotor should have been changed, geez, 10,000 miles ago. But anyway, this is a new rotor. It's slotted. It's an E-coat on it, so it hopefully will not rust real fast. And when you put these back on, don't forget your little Phillips screws. It basically just holds the rotor in place while you reassemble stuff, but it's pretty nice. Okay, once that's on there, you're going to want to put some lubricant all along this hardware right here. And this is what I use, Ceramic Extreme Brake Park Lubricant. It comes in a nice squeeze tube. I think the tube's like $8. Lasts forever. But squeeze some of that lube in there and get it all over that hardware. So make sure you don't get it on the rotor when you go to put this back on. And that will help your brake pads float and not drag on the rotor. So just got a basic reassembly now. Put this back in here. And I'm going to show you, okay, this is the inside one. So, if you can see that, that's going to go right in there. So I might need 2 hands. Let's see it here. Even with me grinding a little bit off of there we go, it still fits a little bit tight. But if you don't grind that, your rotors are going to drag just like the originals, and it's going to wear out prematurely. So let's put this one here. Okay, and here we can maybe see a little bit better what I'm talking about. You're pretty much grinding that profile right there so that this brake can kind of float and kind of slide on the grease so it doesn't drag on the rotor. And like I said, for some reason I've noticed on these soles, just the 2010 to 2012 that I know of, that it's like that. And it's like that on the back as well. So if you do your rear brakes, grind a little bit of that out as well. And then these pads can, see how that moves nice and easy? The original ones from the factory do not do that. So anyway, like I do, this piston, you can just squeeze that in with some channel lock pliers if you want, or if you got a piston squeeze tool. Just throw that back on there and put the wheel back on and you're good to go. But that's just a couple of tricks I've learned after doing several of these brake jobs in these Kia Souls, and hopefully it helps you guys out. It's the first time I'm using this black E-coat rotor. Hopefully it doesn't show rust as fast as like an uncoated one would. So, alright guys, thanks for watching.